5 wide receivers from a fantasy perspective going into the 2021 season. All right, guys, let us start at 5. At 5, DeAndre Hopkins. I'll be honest, a lot of other people do not even have him in the top 8, top 10 even, because he had a bit of a down year, kind of, all right? Early rankings aren't kind to him, but to me, I could not leave him off because I think he has such a high floor. Okay, he was down year, still top 10, so I don't think that will continue, and if it's that, then he's worth taking at 5. He's been in the top 10, guys, for 4 straight years. You know I'm obsessed with that sort of consistency, and he had a number 1 finish in there as well, and that means something. So I think he steps things up in year 2. I know they added a lot of additions, and I really think D-Hop is going to be quite a big value in a team that scores a lot of points. Okay, at number 4, Calvin Ridley. I'm doing it. He finished 4th last year, top 5 wide receiver from a fantasy perspective. He had over 1,300 yards. He also dispelled the rumor that he needs Julio to take attention away in order for him to succeed, which is great. And he's now played 8 career games without Julio. What has he done in those? He's averaged 107 yards per game in those contests. So I think he has another big year in this Arthur Smith offense. I would be so comfortable finally taking him inside the top 5. All right, top 5 wide receivers on June 11th. At number 3, this is the trickiest one. It's Davante Adams. Rodgers' situation clearly makes this one, 50% fascinating, 50% difficult. If Rodgers is back in Green Bay, I think I can move Davante Adams to the number 1 wide receiver spot. Okay? Without Rodgers, I still think he puts up major numbers. Let's not forget he put up top 10, what was it? He had a great year last year. He had 10 touchdowns. He's done it before, double digits in 2017, with Brett Hundley playing the majority of that season. That's what really sold me on putting him this high, sort of baking in the Aaron Rodgers situation. He's a better receiver now than he was 4 years ago. He's the kind of guy who gets better every snap, every play. So he is staying in my top 3, regardless of what's going on at the quarterback spot in Green Bay. 10 touchdowns with Brett Hundley. Remember that. At number 2, Tyreek Hill. This is by far the Ronco Grill set it and forget it of this list. It was super easy to slot him there. You could easily take him number 1. I get it. Easiest position because nothing has changed. Not with him, not with an offense that's always going to put up points. He gets his no matter who's on the field. They're loaded. Who cares? He was the number 2 wide receiver last year. He had 15 touchdowns. Do I think there will be regression from 15 touchdowns? Sure, but he's got Mahomes. He's got the entire offensive coaching staff returning. No reason to think it won't be another top 2 finish for Tyreek Hill. And at number 1, I'm doing it. I told you I'd put Davante Adams there if we get news that Aaron Rodgers will return. He's holding out as of now. Stephon Diggs, wild. He finished 3rd in fantasy last year. He led the league, though, in yards and catches and targets. 127 grabs, guys. 1,535 yards, just silly. He had 166 targets. No reason for me to think he's not going to have that sort of volume again. They didn't really address the run game. That's not what they do. He clearly has chemistry. Why wouldn't he be even better in year 2 of this experience? I love the fact, he didn't have a single bad game last year. And the touchdowns might not be as high as Tyreek Hill. They certainly weren't. But I don't know. I don't like being touchdown dependent anyway. So I'm giving him a go at 1. So there you have it. DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, Davante Adams, Tyreek Hill, and Stephon Diggs. Peter, there are some obvious omissions here that made my DeAndre Hopkins pick a little bit controversial. What say you?
I go to your team, the New Orleans Saints. I know they have a different quarterback, but Michael Thomas is apparently healthy. A couple years ago, he broke the single-season reception record. Do you not have Michael Thomas in the top 5, a guy who, when healthy, is an absolutely unstoppable wide receiver in the NFL? I know Saints fans are wondering, where's our guy?
Yeah, I think that there's definitely questions there with the quarterback situation, of course, not with him, but when you have guys, it was hard for me to keep Justin Jefferson off this list, Riggs. It was hard for me to keep A.J. Brown, even though Julio Jones is there, DK Metcalf. Those are all guys that this year I just have less questions about than I do about Michael Thomas, but he will be a steal, and there will be so much depth at wide receiver. Who's next?
We got the snubs for you, Adam. We'll handle the snubs. We got the snubs all day.
We'll talk about the other guys.
In fantasy leagues is to get guys on the ascension, like the Rockets who are going up. I see guys on this list who are already in their prime. I see guys who maybe are starting to sidestep out of their prime. And I saw a sensation in Minnesota last year who looks like a rock star. Justin Jefferson is a guy I would grab. I still think his best football is there. Just a taste of what we got going. No Justin Jefferson, even at number 5 on this list.
It was very hard. DeAndre Hopkins, I feel like the floor is higher. It is a safer pick. And I'll tell you, Kyle, his 1,400-yard crazy rookie finish still didn't put him in the top 5 last year. So he wasn't a top 5 fantasy wide receiver then. Is he going to do better than 1,400 yards? Maybe. But think about how much this team had to throw. Kyle, be honest. This team had to throw a ton because their defense wasn't good. They addressed the defense. This is what Mike Zimmer is known for, what he wants to do. I don't think they're going to have to throw this much. And when all is said and done, and it's the same sort of vibe with A.J. Brown to me, it's a run-first team. That's what they do. I think he'll still have a great year. I would still take him in the top 10. I just wouldn't put him above someone who I think is going to have a better year and is a safer pick with a better floor and a high-scoring offense with a better quarterback throwing him the ball and Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay, listen, I like your list. It's a solid list.
Tough, though.
Those playmakers at the top, they're good, and they're going to put up numbers. And I agree with you, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, you can go either way. But you mentioned A.J. Brown.
Well, you
threw him out there. Okay, you can't do a top 5 list and then throw in the names afterwards. You got to let us do this. That's why we fight your 5. So now, listen, you have A.J. Brown, right? You bring in
Julio. I
Julio.
barely do these.
A.J. Brown, 70 catches, just over 1,000 yards. He had 11 touchdowns, so we know he's going to get in the end zone. I feel like he's going to see a different type of coverage this year that he's never seen, and that might mean bigger plays in more stats. What do you think?
Yeah, so he was a top 10 fantasy wide receiver last year. I love him. It was really hard. Nate, it was so hard to keep him off this list. He missed a few games. I thought about it, but it's sort of the same. It's a run-first team. Like Derrick Henry, this offense revolves around him, and I like A.J. Brown, but you'd have to think, Nate, don't you think just volume, target share? Don't show me these highlights. It's breaking my heart. Nate, Julio Jones' presence is going to steal some targets away. Will it help him? Yes. But think about it. Julio, lack of touchdowns is always the concern. I thought about putting Julio on this list. Julio's always on top 5, top 10 lists in fantasy. But could that touchdown thing that always haunts him from a fantasy perspective, is that an Atlanta problem? Is he going to come and absolutely ball out in Tennessee? And you know there will be games that Julio will win your week for you with a 250-yard performance. What does that mean for A.J. Brown in those situations?
Yeah.
Run first team.
And I know there's going to be games where Derrick Henry goes for 250 yards. So, yeah, no, I hear you on that. I just feel like A.J. Brown, just like Justin Jefferson,
okay, Nate's wrong, too.
Up and up.
I'm going to fight Nate, even though it's not even his 5. Nate, it's not top 5 best players. It's top 5 fantasy scorers. Like, AJ is not going to be in the top 5 fantasy. There's too many. AJ's great. I'm fighting Nate now. That's how fired up I get for this.
Bro,
I think
Kyle, he missed games. He missed games, had 70 catches, and put up over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. You don't think he's going to be better with Julio next to him? Come on, bro.
No. Because Julio's going to have 11 touchdowns.
Jamar Chase.
Stats, buddy. Yeah.
Jamar
T. Higgins.
Out of left field. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you. And Fight My 5 on Twitter at GMFB. What about DK Metcalf? He was hard for me to keep off this list. Trailed off at the end of the season. Julio Jones right now going at like 15. Where does he end up through the summer? Does he move up or move down?